So, kind of wanted to go over a checklist that Oscar and I put together literally on the way home from the Winter Cup. We've talked about doing some longer form content, kind of like some podcasts and stuff that kind of go over like deck building and things like that, kind of the thought processes that we use and stuff like that. So today I want to talk about Opus 1 6-drop Golbez. So we come up with this really dumb idea that Golbez basically gets you 2 drops from the deck, right? So you can play just a bunch of 2 drops that do whatever you need them to do. It really is that simple. So to turbo this, to accelerate the engine here, we also run Magic Pots. Magic Pots can basically send Golbez to the break zone and allow him to trigger his effect. But we also run a couple of 2 drops that kind of fall in line with this. So we'll go over the 2 drops here in a second because they're a little bit more in depth. But Golbez, most important part of the deck, he's literally the reason that the engine works. As far as non-2 drop forwards, today I'm messing around with Regis, which I'm not sold on it yet. I do like it. Truthfully, the only reason that it's in here is because of the special. I think the special is worth it in a lot of scenarios because I was deathly terrified of Ixion, and I think Ixion kind of wrecks a deck like this. It's not. This video is sponsored by Nerd Labs. At Nerd Labs, we carry all kinds of Final Fantasy TCG singles. If we don't have the card, it's probably because, I don't know, somebody's already bought it. We carry everything from promos all the way from Opus 1 to Opus 21. Every single day, prices are updated to be 10% cheaper than whatever is TCG player low. So get your singles while you can. Back to the video. It's not going to survive anything when it comes to Ixion. But anyways, Regis basically just allows me to save my forwards. And also, if I want to be reckless, I can start attacking, and doesn't matter if you block, I'm still chipping away at the larger forwards, and then I can cast Regis to bring 2 things back, which triggering auto abilities and stuff like that. It could be worth it in some scenarios, but it is still really we also run 3 Gabbrinth. So after today, if I do end up taking Regis out, I think Bagan would actually be really good over the Regis, or over the Gabbrinth. The only reason that I'm running Gabbrinth is because Gabbrinth will search for either Regis or Golbez, depending on what I need. But Bagan being able to search for the Golbez, and then as long as Golbez and Bagan are on the field, you can break Bagan and break something else. It's I like that a lot. But I chose Gabbrinth for this scenario just because you can search either or. Then we also run Galuf. So the new Opus 21 Galuf, reveal the top 5, play a 2 drop onto the field, return the other to the bottom of the deck. Plus he gives all your 2 drops and less, for what it's worth, plus 2k. So that's really good. So in terms of the 2 drops that I think that actually matter, so we have Delita. Delita is just another small engine that kind of helps break Golbez so that we can kind of get through those faster. I'm pretty sure the video is either up or it's going to be up where Golbez into, I think I played 4 forwards, played Galuf into Delita. No, I magic potted Golbez to play 4 forwards, had a Golbez, Galuf into Delita. Delita breaks the Golbez to get 4 more forwards. I mean, that's a lot of presence. So
and 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, that was literally like turn 2, I think. Yeah. Because I think I played a backup in Magic Pot turn 1.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's really, really good. The other 2 drops that I think are super important are Warrior Light. Opus 16 Warrior Light basically just helps protect your board. Very in the same vein that Regis does. Saving your board presence is kind of going to be the name of the game with this, I think. So it's really, really good just to be able to remove Warrior Light, make everything unbreakable, you then have a wall that literally cannot be broken. Pun intended, I guess. But anyways, 2-drop Warrior Light's really, really good. You can grab it off Golbez. There's no reason, I think, not to play the 2-drop Warrior Light. And then the only other 2-drop that I think is like desperate is Rydia. And I don't necessarily know that you need to be on 3, but I do feel like you need to at least be on at least 1. And the reason that we did that, and truthfully it's probably debatable, was because we wanted to play Shimazai. Shimazai, yeah. So honestly, after today, I think there's a world where the deck doesn't have to run this, but it runs different summons. Kusith would be a really good replacement for that. Anything that you can basically get Rydia to free cast is going to be good. So I think that's really good. And I guess while we're here at the summons, we'll talk about Fenrir. Targeting a 2 or less, it's free, can't be chosen by summons. Protection's always good. So this is kind of like, this in my opinion is kind of like the core of the deck. Like I said, Regis can probably go, but I feel like everything else here is in some fashion important. And like I said, Gabrinth can easily be replaced with Pagan. So then we get to talk about the 2-drops, and you can take this in any direction you want to go. We kind of decided to just go all in different directions. So I will talk about the Category 4 twins really quick, only because the way that Golbez is going to interact, right? Golbez goes to break, you get to choose 4 forwards, all of a different element, right? So let's just say you grab these 4 forwards, doesn't matter. So Rydia is going to enter. Her auto ability will not trigger because of Golbez, right? But Palamon entering will still give Rydia the counters because she won't get the counters for herself, but she still gets the 2 counters each for Palamon. So that's really, really good. Only on one of each of those. I kind of wish I had more than one, but I don't. You need a bunch of different elements because of Golbez's stipulation. So it's kind of a situation where you want them but may not be able to have them. Maybe 2 and 2 could work, but either way, being able to get up those counters is really important, especially like you don't have to have obviously all the counters, but getting where you can do Shimazai is obviously going to be really good because then they can't block with anything 2 or higher, or it's inferior or equal to. So it's literally can't be blocked by a forward with a cost inferior or equal to its own. So they would literally have to block with 1-drops. And who's playing, more than a couple of 1-drops these days? Not very many people. Anyways, so Palamon really good. Obviously, twins are good on their own as long as they stick to the field. They're really good. Then we run Orin and Charlotte. So just 2 kind of protectors. Orin is just stupid good, especially with Rug running around. The fact that your opponent has to choose Orin, and then at damage 3 he's already buffed by 3, so he's at 7, then you're going to choose him 3 times. You literally make him the 10k wall that they cannot break through on their combat. So that's really, really good. Charlotte works very similarly. She gains 2k at damage 3, so she's at 7, and then she basically becomes 10k with Rug on the field. But anytime she's dealt damage at damage 3, she reduces that damage by 2,000. So that's also really good. Just basically 2 protectors. But I guess we'll also talk about Laswell while we're here. Laswell basically just works really well with Charlotte, also with Delita, being that Delita is a knight in and of himself. So if you were to be able to get both or all 3 of these out on the field, they kind of all work in tandem to where if Delita goes into attack, they now have to discard a card at the end of the turn. Or Laswell won't get the trigger for himself entering, but if a Job Knight enters, you would also get the trigger for that, so you can Dolan freeze something, which is really nice. 1 copy of Cindy just to get some haste. It doesn't necessarily have to be an attacking situation either. You can obviously dull her to dull something that they have to get that damage 3 to make those two a little bit better. I think that's really good as well. Then we also run 1 copy of Aerith. So Aerith is going to basically buff everything by 2k. So when you have Aerith and Galuf on the field, Galuf is going to buff all of your 2 or less by 2,000. Then Aerith is going to buff them all by 2,000 as well. So you're looking at plus 4k onto the board just for being there. And that was backbreaking in some games that we played today. We also have 1 copy of Firion. I'm indifferent on Firion right now. I don't think I used him at all today, but he's good just because if you control 5 or more characters, he gains haste, and when he attacks, you draw a card, so it kind of generates you that advantage. But if Golbez goes to the break and you choose Firion, that knocks out both fire and water as your choice because he counts as both. So it does kind of limit you in terms of what you can choose, but still very, very powerful. We also run 1 copy of Null. So the reason that we run Null is that A, it's haste, but B, it also, when a forward of your opponent's leaves the field, you get to dull something. So that's really important as well, being that you're attacking so much and you're gaining all of this attack power. You can kind of attack, they're going to block with something, that's fine, you get to dull something else. So you're basically taking out 2 blockers just for Null attacking, and it's whenever any forward leaves. So if they start blocking Cindy, or it doesn't matter. So Null being able to kind of slowly chip away at the board twice as fast is really good. And then the 1 card today that proved to be very, very, very good was Luso. Luso being able to gain haste and first strike, gain first strike and brave off of 3 or more elements is really, really good, but he also gains 1,000 off of all the other forwards that you have. Then if you have 5 or more elements, then he's going to deal a point of damage every time he attacks. So being able to put that much pressure on that early is very, very good. Magic potting into Golbez gives you Golbez plus 4 other forwards. Luso's wind, Golbez is lightning, so let's just use Null as a replacement right there. So you could literally go into 5 elements just off of Golbez, because you'll have Golbez and then you'll grab these 4, right? So that's 5 elements straight up. So that's very, very good, and Luso puts in a ton of work when he enters the field. So we were talking about room for more forwards, and honestly I was very underwhelmed by the backups, although I do think that you need probably at least 2. I think that the 2 Moogles are probably the choice for me. We are playing Reeve. If it was an EX burst, it'd be an instant yes, but being able to play a 2-drop from your break zone onto the field is really, really important, considering that you do run a lot of 1-ofs. So any of these that are, you're not going to be able to recur them. Like we said, we're not playing Kusith. Definitely could slot in Kusith. I think that's a really good spot. But currently in this iteration, Reeve is the only recursion that we have. So Reeve's really good in that regard, but I'm still not sold on him. And then the last backup that we're playing is Google FFCC. The reason for that is because we do play basically a rainbow deck. That makes a lot of sense to me, to be able to tap these for any color, to be able to play anything that we have. The only other card that I think would do really good is probably Gilgamesh FFBE. If you can pay for him. I mean, that's kind of the problem with him right now.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, so the deck is super, super fun. It's got some really dumb lines of play, and I think if you build it, you'll have a lot of fun with it. I definitely would suggest tinkering around with like the Regis and the Bacon and all that good stuff. So anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed today. Leave a comment if you've tested out Opus 1 Golbez Turbo. Yeah, see you later.